It's Marvel Fan 45 here, and today I'll be going over my favorite films of all time. Haven't seen everything, still need to see La Dolce Vita, Blues the Warmest Color, Eyes Wide Shut, and a whole slew of other things. Still need to see the John Cassavetes movies. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for now. Leave your lists in the comments, and yeah, I've done 3 takes of this video so far. Sorry, I don't usually do takes on these things. Like, The Big Lebowski was just a 1 take, but I ended up going on a tangent for 2 minutes before we even got to my favorite films, and I don't want to do that again. So yeah, this is my top 5 favorite films. Put yours in the comments below, and yeah, let's get into it. Number 5, Tetsuo the Iron Man, directed by Shinya Tsukamoto and released in 1989. Wow. So there is not a film like Tetsuo. I'm just gonna start it off like that. I've never seen a film like Tetsuo. Tetsuo is willing to go to so many dark places that other movies wouldn't. I mean, the opening scene of the movie with the piece of metal, I'm not even gonna say what happens with it, but the opening scene is gonna decide whether you want to watch the movie or not. But yeah, Tetsuo, it's filmed completely in black and white. The acting is amazing, as it is with most foreign films or films in general. I mean, you don't usually see bad acting, but that's a tangent I don't want to go on. So yeah, the acting's great, the direction is also great, but it's done in a completely different style than my number 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's done in this sort of fast-paced style, similar to the film Crank, if you've seen that, where Crank is just completely off the walls, filmed extremely fast. And yeah, it has segments like that, like the entire last 30 minutes, which this film is only an hour and 7 minutes, which is completely insane because it's such a great film. I mean, the body horror is amazing. The effects are amazing because it is a body horror movie. The black and white aesthetic, again, is great. It fits this perfect metal-y feeling you're supposed to get for the movie. Not heavy metal, just sort of like metal. But yeah, Tetsuo, my number 5. It's just out there, and I love films like that. So now, number 4, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, released in 2019 and directed by Celine Sciamma. Here's a controversial opinion. I preferred this film over Parasite, but in my previous videos I've gone on a tangent about that, so I'm not going to. But yeah, the direction in this film is amazing. It has that symbolism I love, as you know. It's sort of this slow burn type film, and it leads up to, honestly, one of my favorite endings just ever. And yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen this film, it's on Hulu. It's well worth checking out. I'm checking out the Criterion soon as well. But there's so many beautiful scenes visually in the movie, like the painting scenes, the scene in the water in the opening, all of it's beautiful. Like, there isn't a shot that isn't beautiful. The acting's amazing. Yeah. I know it's a recent film, but I've seen it 6 times, so it's not... I don't discount it. So, yeah. And then... yeah, I just love everything about it. Symbolism, acting, direction. Enough said. Number 3, Climax, 2018, directed by Gaspar Noé. This film I've watched 6 or 7 times. It's extremely, extremely stressful to watch, and I love it. The soundtrack beating in the background is amazing. The acting by Sophie Boutella and everyone else is great. The dance sequence in the opening is one of the most well choreographed opening scenes I've seen, period. Well, it's just one of the most well choreographed movies you'll see, period. And then the fact that this movie has the balls to put its credit sequence 46 minutes into the movie, which is absolutely insane. And it's perfect that the credits are 46 minutes in, because Gaspar Noé is pretty much saying, yeah, now it's about to really, really start. Because the film is done in 2 segments. The first part is really getting to know the characters and watching them dance. And then the second segment is where the LSD kicks in. And it has some of my favorite shot scenes in cinema. The scene where Selva or Sophie Boutella in the movie is walking down the stairs and you see the camera slowly turn and it's completely backwards and there's all the blinking red lights and the soundtrack is playing in the background. And the fact that the entire last act is filmed backwards is absolutely insane. Like, the amount of choreography and effort that must have taken is insane. But yeah, Climax is my 3rd favorite film. Some of the best uses of color, direction, acting. I mean, yeah, I just love it. My 3rd favorite film. Now, my 2nd favorite film. Now, my 1st and 2nd favorite films can change, varying on the day. But they're pretty solid right now, number 1 and number 2. But in the future, once again, I haven't seen all the movies I want to see, so they may get overtaken. But Dracula 1992 is my number 2, directed by Francis Ford Coppola and released in 1992. Wow. So this film, the way I saw it was one night, I was in my basement all alone, and I was like, okay. I just finished watching... Well, no, I stopped playing House of Flying Daggers because I did not like it. It just wasn't enjoyable for me. It was nowhere near as good as The Hero. All my opinions, of course. And then I was like, well, what should I watch? And the only DVD I had near me at the time was Dracula 1992, so I put it in. And I forgot to mention it was like 1 a.m. And I played it, and I was immediately hooked beginning to end. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. It has one of the greatest scores in cinema, in my opinion. I still listen to the soundtrack occasionally. It has my favorite sequence in cinema, the storm sequence, because that sequence, every time I see it, I feel like I'm going insane, because that's what he wants you to feel like. Like, Francis Ford Coppola is an amazing director. The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Rumblefish. He's just made a long list of amazing films. But yeah, there's storm sequence. I've done 2 reviews of this film. They're both 20 minutes long, but from the score to the acting to the direction, it's all perfect. The bit with the shadows is amazing, how Francis Ford Coppola did that, where he had the character's true intentions pretty much in the shadows, which is great symbolism. I've seen this film 4 or 5 times now. I love it to no end. Winona Ryder is amazing in the movie. It has one of my favorite ending and chase sequences in cinema. Yeah, Dracula 1992. I could gush about this film forever, but the amount of symbolism in it is truly amazing. But yeah, that was my number 2. So you may be wondering, what's your number 1? So my number 1 is way out there from other people's number 1s. So all 4 of the previous films I consider perfect, but these next 2 films, they're one film basically, I consider beyond masterpieces. My favorite film of all time currently is Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2. I was introduced to this in my Lars von Trier study. I've seen it 2 times since. It's my favorite film of all time. I mean, everything about it. There's definite symbolism in the film. Charlotte Gainsbourg, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, is amazing as Jo in the lead role. Stellan Skarsgård is amazing as, what's his name, Selgerman. Even Shia LaBeouf is great as Jerome, which is easily his best role. Wow, I could talk about this film, honestly, for hours. I have my own personal connection to the movie. Won't reveal what, but I have a very deep connection with it. But yeah, from the direction, oh my gosh. The shot of Charlotte, or I'll just call her Jo for the sake of it. Jo, her character, when she's goes up the mountain and sees the tree, and then that theme starts playing. Like, I honestly did tear up multiple times in this movie. And then, the ending has a lot of symbolism in itself, because Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2 is about the nature of addiction and humanity and lust and love and all of that. I mean, Mrs. H with Uma Thurman, one of the best scenes in any movie, no question. I mean, once again, I could gush about this film for a while. There's so many subtle nuances. There's tons upon tons of symbolism. Like, yes, this film can be considered pretentious, and if you call this film pretentious, I won't deny it. It is a pretentious film, but I love it for that. And then the aesthetic of the film is just sort of this white, gray. There's colors occasionally, but like, it's not exactly the most colorful film. Well, it has colors occasionally, but like, yeah. The acting is once again on a whole nother level. All the segments of the film are great, and every single part of the movie ties together perfectly into the next segment. And then from the first segment to the first conversation Jo has with Stellan Skarsgård, to the ending conversation she has with Stellan Skarsgård, and the ending vignette, I guess, and the beginning vignette, it all ties together perfectly. Like, literally a perfect film. Once again, I could gush about this for hours, but Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2, my favorite films of all time. Now, yeah, this was a really fun video to do. So, this video is mainly so I could document my favorite films currently, because I know it's going to change by the end of the year. I'll be trying to do a list of this each year, so I can show how my taste in film has updated and changed. So, yeah. It'll be done at a random time. I don't even know. I may do another one of these lists this year. But yeah, I would be interested to hear your favorite films. Put your answers in the comments below. My favorite films are just completely out there. And the reason I did only 5 is because these are the only 5 I can say are definitive. These are the 5 that are gonna stay. And yeah, that's it. Stay safe, stay quarantined, and have a good day.